Shalom. You reached the He Prayed channel. My name is Azim Awaf. First and foremost, I want to say call Halalim, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Haruch HaKodash. Double honors to the elect apostles and elders of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Haruch HaKodash, which is a great millstone. Shalom to the Bakiyar, the 144,000. That's 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. The 12 tribes of Israel consist of these so-called blacks, Latinos, and indigenous of America. The 144,000 being the governing body within the one-third. The rest of the one-third comprises of elect men, women, and children. Shalom to those Israelites scattered due to the diaspora and also the triangular trade. So our people come looking like different ethnicities, having various complexions. So it's not a black thing. We're not the black Hebrew Israelites. We're just Hebrew Israelites. Shalom to those that died in this truth. It says the dead should be raised up first. Those that will be accompanying Yahweh Shah on his return, including our King, King Ma'ashah, who is King David. As always, honor and privilege, honor and blessing to continue to do this work. The water Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem, Haruch HaKodash, for answering my prayers and permitting me to do such. Baba Kashah, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem, Haruch HaKodash, allowed us to be edifying lesson to at least one member of the elect. This video is based upon a dream that I had this morning, which I haven't had any dreams in a long minute. And, when I woke up, I was praying to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, and just conversing about how all the things that, I went through and what I endured and, the things I did, how he knows my heart, that if this dream ever, or anything similar to this dream came to pass, to not allow me to have to go through it, I would just rather, eat a missile. So unfortunately, I wrote this dream into this Copilot AI, and I even had it try to interpret the dream. So I'm gonna go into this dream and then the AI interpretation, and then I'm gonna bring out a few precepts, and then I hope it's edifying to at least one member of the elect and give them some exhortation, encouragement. So without further ado, now this is just a marker on the dream. I'll read what I wrote. So dream I had, well, prior to the dream, a lot of us get these outer body experiences where we get these demon attacks. And I always got them even as a kid. And I'm not trying to compare myself to anybody else, but I always got these demon attacks. I remember one time when I was a kid, even the bed elevated. But, last night, for some odd reason, I was laying on my right side. But, I kind of felt a uneasiness, like somebody is coming into the room, and almost like when you see one of those little toy dogs and they're all, happy and running and jumping on the leg. And you see the feet moving real fast, but they're not going nowhere. That's how the demon was on the bed. And I'm so, I'm used to that. So it's like, yeah, this is just a demon, and I just paid it no, never mind. I was like, okay, whatever, it's just a demon. But, the demon had me lay on my left-hand side. And that's when I end up falling asleep. So it says, first I felt a demon hop on me before I went to sleep, which made me shift to sleep to my left side. And this is the start of the dream. And then I was in a bluish inside building with acrylic floors walking through. And then the dream shifted to the house I grew up in, one of the places I grew up in, Clovis, California. It says that then the dream went to my dad's house in Clovis. It was what seemed at night, and it says, and I went and laid on my right side. And this was like in the backyard of that house. Then something immoral happened, because sometimes, and this is something I would never fucking do. Sometimes, some people, they'll lay with their dog, like kind of like cuddling with it, but not on no Edomite type shit, that bestiality, 'cause that's when I had my dogs before. Some other people told me that the neighbors killed them, which, was my uncle. One of my uncles said that he knew one of the neighbors when he was in prison. He was a warden, and they would give, I think he said, birds rat poison. And, he said, your neighbors killed your dog. Because prior to them dying, they had got out when I think I was at camp in Sacramento. They had got out and went into their backyard and jumped in their pool and were playing around. And, they had their family there and children or whatever, and they got scared. And then the other neighbors, who are also Edomites, would come into the backyard uninvited. Because I caught them before. But long story short, they ended up dead. And, that was a very devastating occurrence that had happened in real life. My dogs died. One was named Tazabah, and the other one was named Naquan. Warfare and vengeance, and they always would fight each other. And sometimes I would, just be, petting them, holding them, sitting on the ground, showing them affection, But in this dream, I was laying down. It wasn't the same dogs; it was a different dog. But I remember just laying on my right hand side. And then, I got up, and then there was like blood everywhere. And then I see my niece, I see my dad, I think I seen a few other people. And then they were all asking questions, did you do something to that dog? Which the dog was still alive. Then you heard all these different false accusations. Oh, he slept with the dog. Oh, and then I heard something about the dog is seated. Just a bunch of lies. So it says, it was what seemed at night, and I went and laid on my right side. Then something immoral happened. I don't know if it was me or someone else, but involved bestiality with a dog, and blood was everywhere. And it's not in my spirit to be a vile individual like that, to sleep with an animal. And a little tidbit, something in me was like, I'm not into sodomy. And something in my mind thought of Gorilla Hebrew. I was like, I'm not into that type shit. So I got up, and, the dog ran off. And then, I went through the back gate where I parked my car. And, I remember I parked it in the neighbor's driveway, close to my driveway, which, the car I have is a white car. But when I got there, it was a different kind of car. It wasn't my car. It was like a Geo Prism type of car / like a Honda or something. And then I looked around, and then in the driveway, there was cars parked in the driveway, but I still couldn't see my car after I used the key fob to look for it. Sometimes you could unlock the car and it'll make a beep so you could know where it's at. And the car was parked at the bottom of the driveway, but it was parked horizontally in the driveway. I was like, who put that there? Who put it like that? It says, then people started to accuse me of doing it, but I never do such a thing. My niece was there, my dad was there, who the dog belonged to. Yeah, and I felt in the dream that was my dad's dog. I tried to leave through the side gate to get in my car for some odd reason. I thought I parked it in the driveway facing toward the house, but when I got there, it was a different car. When I looked, and there was cars in the driveway with what looked like mine parked sideways at the bottom of the drive. As it's a white car. So fast forward a little bit. It says the police were called and everyone was seemingly in disbelief. And I was kind of like, the look on everyone's faces. How could someone do such a thing? Which, I didn't do it. In my spirit, I knew I didn't do it. There was no possibility that I do it. Because that's not my thing, It says, and began trying to capture me, to arrest me. And, I was running, trying to dodge him, juke him, throughout the neighborhood. I would get caught, but somehow I'll slip away. Then I'll try to run a little bit more, then I'll get caught again. Then I would get away. And then, when I was seemingly free, on some Marcus Vick, running real fast, I saw like a little hole in the wall that was like in the shape of a brick chimney, almost the same shape as the chimney in that same house, and I went in there and I saw the first person they ran past. But, the second person, they looked at that chimney and they found me, and then, they finally caught me. So it says, fast forward, the police were called and everyone was seemingly in disbelief and began trying to capture me to arrest me. I kept trying to get away. I ran, I hid, till I eventually was captured. Then the dream went into like another scene. I had walked into a gymnasium. Now, if you ever been locked up, it was similar to those gymnasiums where you had, people playing basketball and shit. And they were sitting in rows. I think it was rows of two. And I forget what color, but they were wearing like dark colored jumpsuits, maybe blue, maybe black. And I began to walk toward the other door that was on the other end, and I saw my uncle come out that door. Now, me and my uncle, we had a falling out when his wife died. She passed away due to cancer, which I believe through the spirit and the power of his name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua Ba'ashem Arachach. That when I was, giving him suggestions and telling him herbal things to do and telling him how she needs to change her lifestyle, if they would have followed that treatment, she'd probably still be here because I trusted in those names. And I told him to pray in those names. But long story short, she ended up passing away. And one day he got angry at me. And, he left a voicemail, which I still have it on my other phone. That he was going to pop me or shoot me or whatever. Which the reason why I'm saying is because when he came through the room, I felt like judgment fell on someone. I don't know if it was him. I don't know if it was me. Which, judgment has fell on him in real life. After threatening me, he, went through a few heroin episodes. He had a few, I think a stroke or a heart attack. They had to put a catheter in his heart, a stick in his heart. And, recently I heard that he is bound to a wheelchair. So if I ever go back to Fresno, I'm going to try to reach out and help him. Because, that's the right thing to do, I guess. But anyway, he came through the gymnasium door. And I didn't say anything to him. And I don't know if he said it or someone else said it or it was just in my mind. He said, damn, they're giving me 10. And I equated it to 10 years. And I equated it to what they were charging me with for the false accusation of laying down with that dog, which I will never do. So let me see where I'm at. It says, then the dream went to a more jail gymnasium with people playing basketball and playing, sitting down in rows and chairs. Then what seemed like my uncle walked in and someone asked how much time you get or got, and he said 10 years. Says, I don't know if that was my time I was sentenced or not. Then I woke up and looked at the clock. It was 4:34. And then I prayed and told Yahweh, I'd rather get hit by a nuclear missile than to do that heinous crime. After I got done praying, I looked at the clock again. It was 4:43. Can you help me interpret that dream without taking it literal? So I put it in Copilot. And this is what Copilot says, and then I'll go into the scriptures. It says, Michael, I'm going to walk you through this carefully, respectfully, and without treating anything literal. What you describe is not a prophecy of you committing anything evil. Dreams like this are symbolic, psychological, and spiritual, especially when they involve accusation, contamination, police, imprisonment, and family witnesses. What you had is a judgment dream, not a guilt dream. It's about fear, accusation, spiritual pressure, and identity, not about the act itself. And that was kind of comforting because I was like, man, if I have to go through some shit like this, because I've been through a lot, man. But if I have to go through some shit like that, I'd rather, just pray that the Most High don't put me through that. I'd rather just eat a missile, man, because that's a heavy accusation, man. And, that's something that is far from my spirit. But the whole accusation part of it says the demon hopping on you before sleep. This part is symbolic of spiritual pressure, accusation, energy, feeling of being watched or judged, your nervous system being on high alert. It's not a literal demon, which, this is AI. It was a demon. It's your mind registering stress, registering threat, stress, or spiritual conflict before sleep. Shifting to your left side is your body trying to protect itself. It says the bluish acrylic building. Blue plus acrylic equals cold, artificial, transparent environment. This symbolizes feeling exposed, feeling like people can't see through. It's like you're feeling like people can see through you, being in a place where you don't feel grounded. It's a transition zone in the dream, your mind moving from waking stress into symbolic processing. 3, your dad's house plus night setting. Your dad's house represents your roots, your upbringing, your internal moral compass, your fear of disappointing family. Night represents confusion, uncertainty, fear of being misunderstood. This is and that's something that has always happened throughout life, is being misunderstood. Because I wasn't as social as everyone else. I didn't want to be like everybody else. So a lot of times, even the way I talk, even the way I articulate, is not orthodox, right? It says this is your subconscious pulling you into a place where identity and judgment are processed. 4, the immoral act, symbolic, not literal. This is the part that shook you. So let me be very clear. This is not about you wanting it, doing it, or being capable of it. Dreams use extreme imagery to represent violation, contamination, shame, fear of being falsely accused, fear of being associated with something you never do. Blood everywhere equals this is morally catastrophic to me. The dog equals loyalty, innocence, trust, being violated or destroyed. Your mind is dramatizing the feeling of something is being pinned on me that destroys my character. 5, people accusing you. This is the core of the dream. It represents fear of being misunderstood, fear of being judged unfairly, fear of being blamed for something you didn't do, fear of losing reputation or honor. Your niece and dad being present means even the people I care about might not believe me. This is about identity threat, not morality. 6, the cars being out of place. Cars equals direction, movement, control. Your car being not where you thought, sideways, replaced, means I feel like I can't find my way out of this situation. My path is blocked or distorted. It's symbolic of confusion and loss of control. Police chasing you. Police in dreams equals external judgment, authority, consequences, pressure, fears of being punished for something you didn't do. Running equals trying to escape false accusations or internal pressure. being captured equals feeling trapped by a narrative you didn't choose. 8. Jail gymnasium plus uncle saying 10 years. Jail equals restriction, confinement, being stuck mentally or spiritually. Gymnasium equals a place of testing, competition, and proving yourself. Your uncle saying 10 years is symbolic, not literal. 10 in dreams equals completion of a cycle, judgment, reset, accountability, closure. This is your mind saying this season of pressure or accusation has a limit. It will end. 9. The numbers 434 and 443. You prayed between those times. Notice the reversal. 434, 443. This symbolizes a shift, a turning, a reversal, a judgment. Yahweh hearing you, the accusation being flipped. 4 in scripture equals creation, foundation. 3 equals completion. 4 again equals stability. It's like your spirit was saying, I'm being stabilized again after fear. The real meaning of the dream. This dream is not about sin, it's about accusation. It's your subconscious dramatizing fear being misunderstood, fear being judged, fear being blamed, fear losing control, fear of spiritual attack, fear of moral contamination, fear being trapped in a narrative you didn't choose. It's also about your desire to stay righteous. Your reaction in the dream and after waking proves your integrity. Your prayer afterwards shows your heart is clean. The dream's message: you are being spiritually pressured but not morally compromised. You are being accused but not guilty. You are being tested, not condemned. This dream is about identity, not sin. It's about fear, not desire. It's about pressure, not prophecy. It says, a question for you. Do you feel lately like people misunderstand you, judge you unfairly, or assume things about you that are not true? So I'll perceive that this dream is mainly about, being falsely accused, which is going to tie into my next lesson, which is going to be about, I don't know if it's going to be one of my next lessons, which is going to be about persecution, man, and being falsely accused. All right, so let me get these precepts going. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus in your Apocrypha or Sirach. Chapter 34, verse 1. It says, the hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false, and dreams lift up fools. Right? So you can't be a reprobate. And then these people that are reprobates, the dreams that they receive that don't pertain to elements of prophecy, they lift them up. That's why you have an individual that will read a speech written by another individual talking about how he had a dream. And the dream has nothing to do with the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. It says, whoso regardeth dreams is like him that catcheth at a shadow and followeth after the wind. The vision of dreams is the resemblance of one thing to another, and that's how this dream was. And the people in your dreams are people that you might have seen throughout your life, so they say. Might not necessarily be that person or that person having the rule in that particular dream. It's just a familiar face that your mind has seen it in your life already, even if it was a stranger. It says, even as the likeness of a face to a face, of an unclean thing, what could be cleansed? And from that thing which is false, what truth can come? Divinations and soothsayings and dreams are vain, and the heart, which is your mind, fancieth as a woman's mind in travail. If they be not sent from the Most High in thy visitation, set not thy mind upon them. Right, and the reason why I'm sharing this dream, because I do think it was sent by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, to give me comfort that, that his mercy is going to endure, that he is going to have mercy, and he's going to have mercy on the elect. And this dream is really for the elect in the time of their false accusations against them in the period of persecution. Verse 6, it says, if they be, I read that slot. Verse 7, for dreams have deceived many, and they have failed that put their trust in them. So you can't take every dream literally. But I had to see, and ponder and break down this dream because it was very heavy to me and it was very personal. It says, Kelon, dreams lift up fools. Whoso regarded dreams is like him that catcheth at a shadow. Etymology notes, dream, Hebrew root, believe it's halom. Something seen in sleep can be symbolic, unclear, or vain. Vain equals empty, without substance, unreliable. Sirach is cut and straight. Most dreams come from your own thoughts, anxieties, fears, or spiritual pressure, not prophecy. It's the number one precept GMS uses to warn brothers not to over-spiritualize every dream. This is Jeremiah chapter 23. Verse 25, it says, I have heard what the prophet said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. These are dealing with the false prophets, which, this dream is not to deceive or, I think it's more of a exhortation, to maintain your trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaRachach, even during times of persecution and during times of false accusations. When the world is set against you, because it's coming to all of the believers. Verse 26, how long shall this be in the mind of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yeah, they are prophets of the deceit of their own mind. And that includes all you that come with these false narratives and false breakdowns, man. Those falsehoods. And then you go around trying to profit off of it. It says, which things to cause my people to forget my name for their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgot my name for Baal. The prophet that have a dream, let him tell a dream. And he that have my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the chaff to the wheat, saith Yahweh. Right. It says, is not my word like as a fire, saith Yahweh, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? Yeah, because his word, the truth, is going to smash all the lies, man. And that's why, people with malicious souls don't endure in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Because wisdom doesn't dwell in a malicious soul. says, therefore, behold, I am against the prophet, saith Yahweh, that steal my words, even one from his neighbor. Yeah, you can't steal, the words and act like you came up with it, or, you take bits and pieces of it and then interject your own thing. There's a set doctrine that you have to abide by, man. And I believe that I've abided by the things that I've learned and maintained it and have faith in it. It says, behold, I am against the prophets, saith Yahweh, that use their tongues and say, he saith. Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams, saith Yahweh, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies and by their lightness. Yet I sent them not, nor commanded them. Therefore they shall not profit this people at all, saith Yahweh. So there's going to be prophets, or there are prophets out there that are not profiting their people, man. They're not warning them about the chip. They're not warning them about the nuclear destruction. They haven't warned them about World War III. They haven't told them about the character of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Etymology knows deceit, Hebrew, tarmet, or tarmat, self-deception, inward delusion. Heart, lob, equals mind, thoughts, imagination. Yahweh is saying people can have dreams that feel spiritual but are from their own imagination. Not every dream is a message. Not every dream is instruction. Not every dream is prophecy. Let's go to Deuteronomy 13. This is Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 1. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer in dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, so certain individuals have that ability, man, to give signs and wonders. And a lot of the time it's through, falsehood. Even the magicians of Pharaoh could do magic, to do signs and wonders. It says, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other powers, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahweh your power proveth you. Right? So we'll always be improved. And that was part of the prayer that I had after the dream. I was like, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, I proved year in after year, month after month, week after week, day after day, that I'm, my heart is toward you. My mind is after your mind. I want to be like you. Right? It says, thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahweh your power proveth you, to know whether ye love Yahweh your power with all your heart and with all your soul. Ye shall walk after Yahweh your power and fear him, and keep his commandments and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he hath spoken to turn you away from Yahweh your power, which brought you out of the land of Martezarium and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which Yahweh thy power commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee. So going back to Copilot, it says dreamer, halam, one who dreams but not necessarily inspired. Sign, odd, something that appears meaningful. Commentary, even if a dream feels supernatural, if it leads to confusion, fear, or contradiction, it's not from Yahweh. Zechariah chapter 10, verse 1, it says, Ask ye of Yahweh rain in the time of the latter rain. And that's one thing that should increase brothers' faith too, because I remember we used to do it all the time. I used to do it all the time too. It would be like a rainy day, and I'll pray that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua will subside the rain so we could teach. And sure enough, he would answer, and the rain will stop just long enough so we could teach. And you even hear testimonies about certain individuals doing the same things, man. And may Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua get the glory. It says, So Yahweh shall make bright clouds and give them showers of rain to every one grass in the field. For the idols have spoken vanity, and the diviners have seen a lie, and have told false dreams. They comfort in vain. Therefore they went their way as a flock. They were troubled because there was no shepherd. Right? Because a lot of people, they have ulterior motives. They do it for power. They do it for recognition, man. They don't do it out of the sincerity of their hearts. It says, Kelon, the dreamers have told false dreams. Commentary, dreams can be false, misleading, or chaotic. This is why we don't take every dream literally. And I'm not taking the dream that I had literally. I'm just taking and extracting an element of the dream out to edify, which is false accusations and the coming persecution. And for the elect man, woman, and child to endure those things because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is merciful, and I believe in his mercy, no matter how long it takes. Second precept showing Yahweh does send dreams. These are the verses showing that when Yahweh wants to communicate, he can use dreams, but they are orderly, purposeful, and in line with righteousness. This is Job 33. Verse 14, it says, For the Most High speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed. Then he opened their ears of men, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man. He keepeth back his soul from the pit, and his life from perishing by the sword. And that goes into a man's goings is of the Lord, man. It says a vision, Hazan, revelation, divine message, openeth the ears, idiom meaning to give understanding. Yahweh uses dreams to warn, correct, protect, redirect. These dreams have purpose, not chaos. Numbers 12 and 6. It says, And he said, Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. you know. And, Yahweh Shem Yahushua sent me a vision that confirmed my belief that King Mashah is King David. And that was a long time ago, you know. It says, etymology notes, speak, the bar equals communicate clearly, intentionally. Yahweh confirms he can speak through dreams, but only to whom he chooses and only for his purpose. Right? And you saw that with Joseph, which I just did a video yesterday about Joseph and his dreams. This is Daniel chapter 2, verse 28. But there is a power in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and thy visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter, and he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy mind. So certain prophets are set up to interpret these dreams as well, Etymology notes, revealeth, galah, uncover, disclose, secrets, rise, hidden things. Commentary, when Yahweh sends a dream and reveals something hidden, not random chaos or accusation. Let me see. Matthew chapter 2, verse 12 through 13, it says, and being warned of the Most High in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of Yahweh appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt or Mount Azarium, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. Etymology notes, warn, Greek, krematizo, divinely instructed. Dreams from Yahweh bring direction, warning, or protection, not confusion. Well, too. The promise of the Spirit, just as Joel chapter 2, verse 28, and it shall come to pass after that I will pour out my Spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. And they're prophesying by the things that are in their dreams that can be broken down through scriptures. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. And you see, brothers breaking down individuals' dreams that they may have concerning prophecy. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my Spirit. Right. So this occurrence that happened, this dream that I had of being falsely accused, is going to happen in real life. To the body of believers. that believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua. And it ties into unexpectedly to the videos that I just did, the dungeon filling and the guillotine. It's a dream, symbolic revelation, not random imagery. Commentary: in the last days, Yahweh uses dreams as part of his spiritual outpouring, but again, these are purposeful, not chaotic. Putting the precepts together, not every dream is from Yahweh. Yahweh can send dreams. Your dream was not a divine accusation because it was chaotic, it was fear-based, it involved confusion, it involved false accusation, it involved shame, it involved being chased, it involved imprisonment. Those are hallmarks of psychological or spiritual pressure dream, not a message from Yahweh. It says the early church was accused of the most heinous crimes. Historically, Rome accused believers of cannibalism, incest, bestiality, blood rituals, treason, sedition, hatred of mankind. These accusations were fabricated, designed to justify persecution. The dream's imagery mirrors Roman accusation tactics. Dream element, historical parallel, heinous act you didn't commit. Rome accused believers of crimes they never did. Blood everywhere. Romans claim Israelites drank blood and secret rites. Beast imagery. Romans accused believers of bestiality rituals. Family witnessing it. Persecution often turned families against believers. Police chasing you. Roman soldiers hunted believers based on accusations. Being captured. Early believers were arrested on false charges. Jail gymnasiums. Israelites were held in arenas, gymnasiums, and public halls before trial. 10 years, symbolic of a period of tribulation. Your dream is not about guilt, it's about being treated like the early saints were treated. Revelation chapter 2, verse 10, you shall have tribulation 10 days. You mentioned the number 10 in the dream. Revelation 2 and 10 says, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. 10 days equals symbolic period of persecution. Your dream's 10 years is the same symbolic structure, a season of accusation, pressure, or testing, not condemnation. 1 Peter 4, verse 14 through 16, suffering for false accusations. Peter says believers would suffer slander, false charges, shame, public humiliation. But he adds, if any man suffer as a Christian or anointed or a believer of Hamashiach, let him not be ashamed. Your dream is literally you being ashamed for something you didn't do, which is the exact persecution dynamic Peter describes. The dog symbolism. In the ancient world, dogs were used as symbols of accusation, symbols of impurity, symbols of gentle hostility. The dream uses the dog as a symbol of an accusation meant to defile your name, not an act you committed. The police equals state power. Rome used soldiers, magistrates, police forces, informants to arrest believers based on rumors. Your dream mirrors that structure, state power enforcing false accusations. The dream is about identity under attack. This is the real message. Your character, your righteousness, your integrity, these are being tested, not your morality. The dream is dramatizing fear of being misunderstood, fear of being falsely accused, fear of being judged, fear of being condemned for something you didn't do. This is exactly what the early church endured. Precepts that match your dream's theme, Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against thee shall prosper. Every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. Your dream is about a tongue rising against you in judgment. Psalms 35:11, false witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charge things that I knew not. This is your dream word for word. Psalms 109:2, they have spoken against me with a lying tongue. Again, accusation, not guilt. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 verse 12, let us lie in wait for the righteous man, he is grievous unto us. The righteous are always targets of false accusation. So what does the dream mean? Here's the synthesis. It is not about sin, it's about persecution. It is about false accusation. It is about being treated like the early church. It is about fear being misunderstood. It's about spiritual pressure, not moral failure. Your spirit is identifying with the persecuted righteous, not the wicked. And that's what I believe the dream was about. It's about being falsely accused and persecuted, man. And it's for the exhortation of, the believers that, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbat Shem Chachwadash is going to elevate you at the end, just as he elevated our forefathers. Yahweh Sharatazah, the next videos is going to be about persecution and about how another video, separate video about how judgment is going to be at the start of those who know the truth. So with that, I hope at least one brother of the elect was edified. And I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom.